LS, I know, boring. Oh, welcome back, guys. So I haven't gotten a whole lot done on this thing this past week here. Had a few things come up and just been too busy. But man, I had a tooth go bad and then I got an abscess and an infection and that knocked me out last weekend, so I didn't get anything done. But anyway, one of the big things that I need to get done now is I want to get this engine and transmission fitted. And I did go pick up the engine and transmission. So let me show you that real quick. All right, I got the LS all loaded up here for the 57. I still got to come back and get the harness for it and the computer. So now what I want to do is I'm going to pull this front clip off, and I just want to get that thing set in here, get it fitted, and see how it's going to fit against the firewall. Now, the big thing we're going to do with this truck is I am going to replace this firewall and smooth it all out and make it really clean, get all the holes filled. So I'll probably just get one of those firewall kits that basically you cut this thing out and then you weld in a new one. But I want to get the engine and transmission fitted in this thing because I want to know where it's going to land, forward and backward, as far as how much room I have here on the firewall. The firewall kits that they sell them in different versions as far as how big the opening is for the motor to slide back into, and then the tunnel opening and whatnot. So I want to kind of know where I'm at right now, stock. That way I just get everything fitted and I kind of know, again, I know where everything's going to land for the most part. And then it'll kind of give me an idea of clearance up here on the front. I know where the core support lands in the front, so I should be able to kind of gauge that too. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this front clip off of here, get it out of my way, and then I'll show you the motor and trans and everything that I got up close and kind of tell you my plan with that as well. Oh yeah. It's only a little bit sketchy, but it's fine. All right, let's get this thing down here. All right, I just set this front clip on the cart that I made for the cab for now, so that'll be just fine. Ta-da! LS, I know, boring. I get it. But remember, I'm building this thing for my sister-in-law, and she doesn't want to mess with carburetor. She doesn't want to mess with any of that stuff, so she wants something super reliable. Be honest, you can't really deny the reliability of these things. They've proven themselves to be pretty good. So, 5.3 4L60E. Got this from Mark, AAA Broadway, and 120 some odd thousand miles, came out of an avalanche. So biggest thing with these I don't like is, like everybody complains about, is they're ugly. I'm gonna do the best I can to really make this thing look good. So I'll paint this thing. Well, first I'm gonna go through it, I'm gonna check it, I'm gonna pull the oil pan, I'm gonna do rear main seal, I'm gonna do all the things with these LSs. They like to leak, so I'm gonna fix all that stuff. I'll probably do an oil pump, all that type of thing too, just to make sure everything's good to go with this. I'm gonna pull everything apart and check it out. All new gaskets and everything, just to make sure. So we do want to paint it, make it look good. And I'll probably change the valve covers, or I'd like to do a coil relocation kit possibly, or they sell those covers that at least cover them, just to dress it up a little bit, because they are ugly. And then maybe some kind of different cover that covers the entire engine. I'll see how that goes. I'll see what I can find. I've seen a few things out there that look pretty decent, so I'll probably go that route just to keep it really simple. So yeah, I know, boring, but you know, they're good. I mean, you can't, for the money, you can't beat them, and they're reliable. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do accessory-wise, if I'm going to use all the truck brackets and everything, or if I'm going to convert this over to a Corvette style or what, you know, the short Camaro Corvette style. I haven't figured that out yet. Maybe a completely different serpentine belt setup or front drive assembly. We'll see how that goes. One step at a time here. I just want to get this thing fitted in there, see how it's going to fit up against the firewall, how the intake back here and all that's going to act against the firewall, and then the transmission mount and all that stuff. So I'm gonna try to push this thing around the house into the backyard on my janky cart here. That's pretty sketch, so I'm hoping it holds up. And get this thing in the backyard, and then I'll show you what I'm doing for motor mounts. Get it out of these damn cracks here. Harbor Freight's finest. All right, it made it, barely. One of the wheels gave out on me right as I got in here, so. I just took off the exhaust manifolds. I took the intake off, obviously. Just tried to get some weight off of this thing that I don't need. All this stuff just needs to get out of my way. And I'm gonna take the valley pan off. I got the knock sensors out. Luckily, those came out okay. And now I've got a lift plate here. I'm gonna put this lift plate on it. All right, I think I got everything off this thing ready to go. I got the plate mounted up there to lift it. So what I'm gonna do for the motor mounts is I'm gonna end up using the stock clamshells. So I got these at a wrecking yard. I found what I was looking for. I was looking for the clamshell motor mounts for this truck. So I finally found a set and I got lucky here. So I found this OBS Suburban here with no front clip on it and good access to the engine. And then I just, luckily, one of these engine cranes was sitting right over here. So I just grabbed it and hoisted it up. And then I got the clamshells there that I need. So I'm good to go there. I used to have a ton of these things laying around many years ago, but now they're just getting harder to find. I searched Facebook and Craigslist and whatnot trying to locate them. But anyway, went to the wrecking yard. So I bought the ICT billet mounts here. And so these essentially, well, let's see, passenger, that's forward. So these just bolt to the block right there, and then the clamshells just bolt to these, moving it forward. So it sits basically where it used to be, because the LS motor mounts are further back than they used to be on the old engines. And that helps keep everything stock. You know, I just wanted to use the original 77 motor mounts. You know, I mean, these things have been around forever. They're simple, they're pretty bulletproof. Now the transmission cross member, I may have to move that forward or backward. I have no idea just yet. I'm just gonna slip the motor in there, motor and tranny, and I'm gonna set it on top. Wherever it lands, and then I'll figure that out later. So I'm gonna get these plates bolted up to the block first, and then I'll go ahead and get the clamshells in position. And then I'll lift this thing up and set it in there. So I'm basically just gonna guess for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. As far as where these things need to be. And then once I get it in there, I'll figure it out. All right, that's pretty good. Get that out of the way. All right, let me lower it down a little bit. Need to go back. Of course, I don't know if these oil pans work for these or not. I have no idea. Better. I gotta get the jack underneath the transmission now. There, now it should slide on the jack a little bit. Should be all right. There we go. shoot, that thing is almost perfectly in position here. All right, let me drop it down. This side's got to go back. Driver's side's got to go back. Let's try that. All right, that is on the motor mounts. But motor mounts are in. Driver's side's okay. Looks like everything fits okay. Now, obviously, that cross member, I got to get that thing out of there. It's drastically in the way, and it's tilting the engine pretty bad towards the front. And it looks like I got to go back quite a bit. So what I'll have to do is just jack it back up and move those bolts out of the way. And then I'm going to have to take that cross member out and get it out of my way next as well. Yeah, see, oil pan wise, the steering rod, the drag link is hitting the oil pan right there. So that's definitely got to go. Oil pan wise, everywhere else, I think I'm okay. It's clearing the cross member. I've got room underneath. Probably hard to see it, but I've got room underneath there. So the biggest thing's the cross member. I need to get that out of the way, move the motor mounts forward, and slide the motor back a little bit more. All right, I got everything moved. I got the cross member out of my way, and I got the motor mounts moved forward. So now, try to shove this back a little bit. Dipstick's probably gonna hit, looks like. Delete on that, I guess. It's really close to the firewall as it is. I'm gonna let it down. Not too much. There it goes. Okay, so that works. Now let me lower the transmission down. It's way too high. Let's see, I'm just gonna eyeball this angle here. It looks about right. Yeah. So that's not too bad. I think my angle is really close, and it's actually sitting on half of the cross member right now. That transmission mount is a center bolt. It just has one center bolt, and that's a double bolt, so. But motor mounts look okay. It looks like I got plenty of room on the firewall. I thought it was going to be tighter than that. And then with the front clip on here and the core support right here, I think that's plenty of room. Down here, my steering rod, no, I'm plenty clear there. I got tons of room. No issues with the oil pan around the cross member at all. Firewall clearance here is good. And you can see the transmission mount, I just have half of it sitting on the mount because I unbolted the mount and slid it back. But I think it's gonna have to come down though. I think the back of the transmission's gotta come down. I think it's too high. Well, I don't know. If you look at it from this plane, it's right even with the frame. The transmission pan, it actually doesn't look too bad, really. It is definitely sloped back just slightly. It actually might be okay, especially for my drive shaft angle and all that. So I'll figure all that out later, but for now, at least I got the thing in there. I'm pretty happy with the firewall clearance. That's looking like it'll be all right. I think what I'll do is I need to throw the intake manifold on it real quick, just loosely, just drop it on top of it. So let me take the plate off of this thing and then drop the motor mount on, or the intake on it. Let me just make sure this is exactly where it is. Thread these in. Okay. All right, so that looks great. I mean, I've got tons of room there. It looks really good. All right, I thought it was going to be a lot tighter than that. So now the only thing I need to know really though is the front here. Now that balancer is not on all the way. As you can see, it's out a little bit. And I think that's like, other than the fan, of course, but this thing's getting electric fans anyway, so it doesn't matter. So really that would be the furthest forward of any of the accessories. Would be out to here, so that's a lot of room. I mean, that's a good, what, 8 inches, 9 inches between the balancer here and the front of this. So the thickness of a radiator and then the fan, it looks like I'll have plenty of room. Exhaust manifold wise, it looks like I'm obviously going to be fine. I mean, you know, being a C10 frame, it all fits in here anyway. You know, so not a lot of issues over here with the exhaust manifolds. Now the only thing I don't know would be the steering column, but I don't think that's going to be an issue either. The steering column is basically going to come out of here. Yeah, no, I'm good. And it'll just curve over to here, a nice slight angle. So that's good, so I'm not going to have to worry about that. This thing's probably just going to get some shorty headers on it. Nothing big, no long tubes, nothing like that. Something really simple. Plenty of room here, obviously, between the hood and the cowl and the top of the intake. And then the inside of the truck, I got plenty of room around the tunnel right here. Lots of room around it. It looks great. I was a little worried about that being too tight. And then obviously this area here is really good. No worries at all with that either. So, wow, okay. Now I guess that's one nice thing about the C10 frame is the way it dips underneath the cab. It does give you a ton of room under there for fitment, so, which kind of makes it nice. And that will help too keep the cab cooler, I would think, inside, because you've got a huge air gap between the two. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the fit of everything. You know, and again, everything's just going to be standard C10 clearance stuff. You know, the thing I was worried about was the back of the cab and the firewall, so that looks great. I don't see any issues with that at all. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the fitment of this thing. What I need to do is get the truck level. The thing is not level by any means. Get the truck leveled out and then put an angle finder on the motor, and I'll figure all that out and figure out my angle, what it needs to be, where it's happy. And then I'll figure that out later. Firewall and cab is probably going to be the next step with this thing. Is tackling that. That's going to be a big job, is cutting this firewall out and filling all the holes in. But anyway, so cool. Well, quick video there on just getting this engine fitted. Obviously not real complicated, just simple stuff really. But the bracket kit definitely, you know, saves the time and headache. And then I'll figure out the transmission mount, of course, too. So, but cool. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for your time, and like and subscribe if you don't mind. And I'll see you on the next one. See you later.